Josh Hart has spoken out on the minutes that the New York Knicks are playing, and we're going to break this situation down because there is definitely a misconception about Tom Thibodeau's minutes. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into things as we always do because we have something different to talk about as it is the All-Star break. So we're going to get a little creative right now, and we are going to talk about Tom Thibodeau's minutes that he plays the New York Knicks because Josh Hart recently had something to say on it. Now, Ian Begley does a mailbag every once in a while and posts it on SNY, where he obviously works for as the Knicks beat writer. And a question that he was asked is how many injuries will it take before Thibs finally realizes he has to manage minutes better? What Begley responded with is that he understands the criticism, but Thibodeau's options are pretty limited lately, which is true. And that said, it's hard to see how the minutes element is sustainable. One thing worth noting here is that Josh Hart offered some valuable insight into Tom Thibodeau's approach between games. Now, what Josh Hart said was before last game, when he was asked about Alec Burks being familiar with the Knicks and Thibs, basically what Josh Hart had to say is, yeah, he knows what to expect. Boyan, that boy's in for it. Burks knows what to expect, so hopefully on that jet right now, flying to New York, he's giving Bogdanovich a couple of tips and pointers, but I will say, Thibs got a little bit of a bad rap about this kind of thing. You know, the practice and all that, he's way better than I thought in the rumors and all what you hear. It's way better, way more in tune, so Bogdanovich will be alright, and it continues. And basically, what Josh Hart had to go after that one, just talking again about the minutes, he said, we've had some days off. I ain't lying. Never been around Thibodeau and get them days off like I did. So it's been amazing. Like I said, he's not foolish. He knows what it is. He knows guys have to play bigger minutes. And hey, maybe with Burks and Bogdanovich, now a guy might not be playing big minutes, and we might be practicing every day. We'll see. I'll let y'all know. Now, a lot of this stems from the Roommates podcast that Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson did drop, and considering today's Thursday, we are going to get the second episode of that podcast, so you should tune in for that, because Josh Hart's going to tamper the hell out of Mikal Bridges, and it'll be fun to watch. But Josh Hart has talked a lot about this, and essentially, he's not wrong. Look, the Knicks, it's not like all of them are playing a million minutes. And if they're not practicing every day like most NBA teams don't anymore, that's a good sign. Josh Hart is saying that he's gotten more off days with Thibs than he's had with any other coach in the NBA. And that's a huge sign of, okay, well, yeah, maybe some guys play big minutes, but they are getting more days off. They're not just playing big minutes, then going to practice every day and getting ran into the ground. That's not what happens. It's just what people assume because of what they've heard. And who knows, maybe Thibs did that once upon a time. Maybe with the Chicago Bulls, when Luol Deng was averaging 40 minutes a game, he played that type of style, and then he adjusted. We've seen that Thibs is more willing to adjust than I think a lot of us, including myself, were really expecting going into the Thibs tenure with the New York Knicks. I thought Thibs was not going to be a great hire. I didn't think he'd be bad, but I didn't think it was going to be great because I knew the minutes deal. I heard that he worked people hard in practice. I think he's adjusted over time. I mean, he's willing to let guys shoot deep-ass threes that he was not allowing people to shoot early in his tenure as a coach, whether it was with the Bulls or even with the Minnesota Timberwolves once the Steph Curry era of shoot a three whatever you can. If you're 35 feet out, screw it. If you can hit it, shoot that shot. And Thibs was not about that even on the Minnesota Timberwolves when he coached them. So it's clear that his third time around being an NBA head coach, he is taking things a little more leniently and has learned a lot. And it's shown. I mean, he's been great for the Knicks. The Timberwolves, I mean, they made the playoffs once with Thibs, and they barely got in as an 8th seed, and they lost 4-1 in that 1 year. And Jimmy Butler kind of carried that team, and Butler even said that and said, y'all need me. Played with those third stringers, as you guys know. Essentially guarded Karl Anthony Towns throughout that practice, locked him up, and then just scored on that starting unit, and basically said that he's the whole reason the team had any success at all. Then went to Miami and made 2 finals, while the Timberwolves have struggled in the past. Now they're good. Anthony Edwards has really shown up, and Towns, obviously good player. Rudy Gobert, good player. McDaniels, best on-ball defender in the NBA. So they're all right now, but look, Thibs has adjusted. He's a different coach than what he was these past 2 times around, and that's very clear, and that's a good thing to know. Now, Stefan Bondy also recently talked about this on the New York Post, And he mentioned that Jalen Brunson was 10th in the NBA in total minutes heading into Valentine's Day. No other Knick cracked the top 38. Before this season, the Knicks, under Thibodeau for 3 campaigns, were exceptionally healthy compared to the rest of the league. Now, something also to attribute this to is just the fact that when Leon Rose came in, he brought maybe the biggest analytics staff in basketball with him. And clearly they're working in every direction to minimize injuries because the Knicks have been very healthy throughout Thibs' tenure. I mean, Stephen Bondy's right, and unfortunately right now is the outlier, but it is the middle of the season where we see teams usually have the most injuries because there's been a lot of games, there's been a lot of playing, and I do think maybe some of these injuries are Tom Thibodeau related. For instance, the potential sore Achilles thing with Isaiah Hartenstein could be allocated back to the fact that Isaiah Hartenstein has played massive minutes since the departure of Mitchell Robinson to the injured reserve. And once Mitch comes back, that'll be fine. Mitch is supposed to come back. And also, Precious Achiuwa is showing why he is really a valuable player to this New York Knicks team. Even against the Orlando Magic last night, he balled out. He had a game high in rebounds in 14. The man was on a heater, had over 20 points. Great game by Precious. He has completely been unlocked, and a lot of that is also attributed to Thibodeau and him playing Precious a lot of minutes. He played Julius a lot of minutes, and Julius figured out how to become an all-star. So Thibs is very good at player development is kind of where I'm going with this. Even Brunson to a degree, like we already saw it coming with the Dallas Mavericks and with that series specifically against the Utah Jazz. But still, Brunson's grown so much under New York, and you have to give Thibs some credit there. I've really turned around on him. Look, do I think Thibs is the perfect coach? No, I think he's got a lot of issues. I think he makes a lot of poor mistakes, and I don't think he runs enough plays. But also, I think he's the best coach the Knicks have had since either Woodson or Jeff Van Gundy. I think you can go either way between Thibs and Woodson. I prefer offense, so I kind of lean Mike Woodson. But I also do think that in this day and age, it's very tough to win as a defense-first NBA team. Even though almost every single team in the NBA that wins the finals over the last 30 years does have a top 10 defensive rating, I think it needs to be a mix of both. You have to have a great defense, but you can't win without offense in this era of the NBA. It's just an impossible thing to do. And the Knicks played really well with Woodson. So, again, you can go either way. It doesn't really matter in my mind. Now, Bondi talked to Stan Van Gundy, and he noted how fans, executives, and trainers are blinded by the belief that all minutes are created equally, as if Jacob Toppin could replace Julius Randle for long stretches. And then Bondi kind of relates it to in the 2018-19 season, which was just a blast for Knicks fans around the world. The last full season before Thibs arrived, the Knicks spread out their minutes like no other. They had 0 players in the top 79 in total minutes, and everyone had fresh legs. And they went 17-65. Well, the Knicks were obviously horrific that year. No help from David Fizdale, though it also can scale back to the fact that Steve Mills had no idea what he was doing as GM. The Knicks were bad. No one was good on the team. They drafted R.J. Barrett and did absolutely nothing to help him by only surrounding him with guys who could not shoot the damn basketball. Especially when Julius Randle was supposed to be that team's best player, and, I mean, he probably was anyway. Was his season inefficient as hell? Yeah, but also the Knicks went 17-65. They were trash anyway, so Julius, managing to be their best player, was shooting, I think, 27% from 3 in his first season with the Knicks. That was the 2019-20 season, actually. So, yeah, I'm just off right now. No, the 2018-19 season was no R.J. Barrett, no Julius Randle. What it was Kevin Knox and Mitchell Robinson. That was the year when Mitch was the best player on our team. Knicks went 17-65. I woke up not that long ago. I'm a little hazy right now. But look, here's the deal. No, Thibodeau does not believe in load management. Bondi's right about that. But he has essentially stopped holding practices with these Knicks. The last time they had a full session was January 22nd. There needs to be an admission from the minutes police that the accusation around Thibs are more reputation than reality. Again, I'm kind of on the side of I think this is new. I think that Thibs probably did overplay his guys. Again, Luol Deng for back-to-back years averaged over 40 minutes per game with the Chicago Bulls. That is a problem, but that was also 10 years ago, and also guys are playing bigger minutes now in the NBA than they have been in the past. And the reason for that is because of the advances in medical science, especially when it pertains to sports. Look, sports science has gotten a lot more advanced within this last 20-year span, really even 10. Like, Comparing now, 2010 to 2024 is very different. Because when Derrick Rose went down with that torn ACL, it's like, yeah, he can come back. He totally can. But also, to a degree, torn ACLs still derailed careers back then. A torn Achilles was the end of your basketball career, basically, if that happened to you. No one came back the same from a torn Achilles before Kevin Durant outside of Dominique Wilkins. And now we've seen Dwight Powell return to the exact same player from that. We've seen guys recover from these injuries because these surgeons are knowing how to do these procedures better. They're learning more about it. Players are learning more about the rehab process. Everything is becoming easier to return from now injury-wise. And because of that, you can afford to play players higher minutes. The only fear is Thibs' garbage time, and Bondi talks about that. As he said, that's his one gripe with Thibs' playing time strategy. Basically, he doesn't believe garbage time exists. And we've heard it before from the coach about the time that he witnessed Tracy McGrady score 13 points in 33 seconds in 2004 with the Houston Rockets, and how that traumatized the coach enough to live by the mantra, no lead is safe. That's not true, of course. Some leads are safe. Sometimes the Knicks are up by 30 points, and if this was 2018-19 season, the Knicks were certainly down by 85 points. Now, obviously, many leads are safe enough to pull the starters, as Bondi says. And as Bondi notes, as an amateur doctor and a dedicated WebMD reader, he can declare that injuries are more likely to happen at the end of games, especially blowouts, where bodies and tired and focus is at its lowest. Now, to anyone who might be a Bulls fan or someone who I'm just friends with who supports my videos because you guys rock, you guys would know what happened with the Bulls in garbage time in Game 1 of 2012. Obviously, disaster struck. Derrick Rose was in the game for no reason. Goes up for a floater. Just takes off weirdly. Torn ACL. Things go south. We know that happens. But look, as I mentioned before, when Derrick Rose tore his ACL, it was like, okay, he can come back from this. But who knows what's going to happen. Whereas now, if someone tears their ACL, it's like, oh, no, that's sad. Sorry to hear. Guess he'll be back next year and he'll be completely fine. Like, that's where we've come from. And in the 80s, it was, oh, he tore his ACL. He's never playing basketball again. Until Bernard King came back from a torn ACL. So, medical science is advancing. People are getting healthier. You're allowing players to play more minutes. 37 minutes per game in 2024 is not 37 minutes per game in 2013. There has been a change. And we have to understand that Thibs has grown as a coach. And that's really what I got to say on the matter. So make sure to subscribe to Knicks Digest, like this video, leave a comment below what you think about Thibs' minutes. Is it a problem? Is it okay? Can Jalen Brunson stop playing 40 minutes once half the team isn't injured? Sure, and everything will be fine, and the Knicks will win the NBA Finals for the next 25 straight years because Jalen Brunson's never going to retire, and I'm never going to die. I'm going to keep making Knicks Digest videos. Have a good day. Go Knicks.